This story begins at night, when a school security guard encounters a woman on his patrol. The woman speaks to him boldly, and the security guard eventually succumbs to her charm. At the same time, Feng is walking home and sees the two together. Feng decides to keep walking without getting involved. Shortly afterward, he hears the security guard screaming. Instead of checking what's happening, Feng runs, not wanting to be seen. He doesn't realize that the scream wasn't of joy, but of fear, because the woman was actually a monster who killed the security guard. That same night, Feng begins dreaming about a girl from school named Suji, whom he has a crush on. In the dream, her appearance changes in a frightening way, causing Feng to wake up startled. After class, Feng tells his friends about the dream and his feelings for Suji. His friends laugh at him and tell him to give up, because she's out of his league, but Feng ignores it and remains determined. Suddenly, Suji appears behind them and overhears everything. Everyone expects her to get angry, but to everyone's surprise, she simply calmly asks Feng to accompany her to her apartment. As they walk, Suji mentions some recent crimes. She says that one of the latest victims was the school security guard. She says that because of these events, she's afraid to go home alone. Feng tries to reassure her, saying that only men have been attacked so far, so she doesn't need to worry, but she replies that perhaps she should be the one protecting him. Suddenly, Suji's expression changes, leaving Feng confused. Feng begins to feel dizzy and thinks it might be from lack of sleep or the nightmare from the previous night. Suji surprises him by saying she likes him too, since there is no school the next day. She asks him out on a date. Feng happily accepts. Meanwhile, the woman who killed the security guard is actually a forest monster named Ren. She continues to attack new victims to absorb mana, a magical energy. The next day, Feng meets Suji in front of a hotel. He is excited about what might happen during their date. At the same time, Ren is staying at the same hotel with another victim. Suji takes Feng shopping, tries on several dresses that look perfect on her, and Feng ends up spending a lot of money. After the encounter, Feng is left with almost no savings and soon begins working to earn more. While working, Feng hears a man calling for help in a nearby room. He knocks on the door, but no one answers, so he moves closer to listen better, unaware that the man inside is already dead. Suddenly, the door opens, and he finds Ren. She immediately senses the strong power within Feng and tries to charm him. But someone is approaching, so she interrupts and hands him a business card before closing the door. Inside, Ren feels satisfied, believing she's finally found the source of power she's been searching for. After work, Feng goes drinking and quickly becomes drunk. He falls asleep in the bar. When the owner tries to close the place, Feng wakes up and calls Suji, asking her to pick him up, but she's taking a shower and doesn't hear the call. Desperate, Feng asks the bar owner to call the number on the card Ren gave her. Ren shows up to pick him up, surprised that her plan worked so easily. Meanwhile, Suji sees the missed call and tries to call Feng back, but his phone is off. When Feng wakes up, he's shocked to see Ren with him. She tries to win him over again. At the same time, Suji begins to sense something is wrong and sets out to find him. Ren forces Feng to tell her he loves her, as he needs to hear those words to absorb his power. Before she can, Suji suddenly appears. Ren becomes enraged and punches Suji, but Suji blocks the blow and counters with a strong kick. Ren tries to attack again, but Suji is faster and fights back. Feng is impressed by Suji's strength, but everything changes when Ren uses his forest monster powers to trap Suji. Just as he's about to kill her, Feng jumps and blocks the attack. This infuriates Suji. She then reveals her true power. She's not human either. In fact, she's a magical fox, another type of supernatural creature that lives disguised among humans. Suji uses her powers and launches a powerful attack at Ren, causing a massive explosion. This battle reveals to Feng that both Ren and Suji are not human, and he realizes that his life will never be the same. Now that his hidden power has been revealed and magical creatures are after him, Feng must face a dangerous new world, where monsters live in disguise and power can be both a gift and a curse. Ren quickly retaliates with a powerful attack, but Suji responds with another powerful blow. Ren struggles to keep up and decides to flee. Later, Feng awakens and sees Suji's true form for the first time. Now he knows she's not human either. Suji tries to joke that she only approached him so she could eat him. Feng is startled and passes out again. Meanwhile, Ren collapses in a city square from her injuries. Lying there, she has a dream about the moment she abandoned those she loved to achieve human form. A man approaches to help her, but instead of accepting his help, She kills him to absorb energy and heal herself. The next day, around noon, the manager of the place where Ren was staying goes to check on the room, but is shocked to find it completely destroyed. At the same time, Feng awakens and is accused of being responsible for all the destruction. 2 days later, Feng still hasn't seen Suji at school. He is confused and disturbed by everything he saw that night. His friends notice he's acting strangely and think he and Suji have broken up. Then, Suji suddenly appears and sits next to him. She makes a joke, and the friends walk away, leaving the two alone. She invites Feng to have lunch with her. At the restaurant, Suji hands Feng a magnifying glass. When he looks through it, he sees her true form again. She asks him to use the magnifying glass to observe the other people in the restaurant. Feng is shocked to discover that some of them are also monsters in disguise. Meanwhile, Ren goes to a construction site and begins attacking the workers to continue absorbing power. As he walks, Suji explains to Feng that monsters have lived among humans for a long time, so he shouldn't be so surprised. Feng worries about the risk these creatures pose to people. Suji explains that, for the most part, they don't harm because there's a peace treaty between humans and monsters. But she also warns that not everyone respects this agreement. Some, like Ren, view humans as dangerous and cannot be trusted, so she advises Feng to stay alert and be careful. A construction worker is about to call his crew when he sees something scary. Terrified, he immediately calls the police. The police chief speaks with an expert from a special group named Ziba to try to solve the growing number of mysterious deaths involving men. Ziba requests 3 days to find answers, and despite the urgency of the situation, the chief agrees to this deadline. Ziba visits the construction site and soon realizes that a forest monster is behind the murders, recognizing this from the way the victims were attacked. He then contacts his partner, who is secretly following Ren, and the partner informs him that Ren is now at Feng's school. Ziba then prepares a special bowl of water, mixes a secret ingredient, and throws it at the school entrance. Meanwhile, Feng is busy searching for monsters around the school. The other students feel uneasy because of his strange behavior. Later, Feng sees a group of friends gathered around a tree. When he examines it with a magnifying glass, he discovers, to his shock, that the tree is actually Ren. When she approaches him, Feng tries to flee, but she restrains him using her vine-like powers. She threatens him, saying that if he doesn't go with her, his friends will be hurt. Fearful for their safety, Feng agrees to go with her. As they leave school, a police officer sees them and is suspicious, but does nothing to stop them. Ren takes Feng to the top of a tall building. There, she tells him that after eating him, she won't need to kill other men anymore, because Feng is different from the others. Feng finally understands that Ren is responsible for all the murders in the city. She also reveals that she wants revenge on the humans because she lost the people she loved long ago. In the past, Ren and another forest being like her were known as saplings. They both dreamed of becoming human one day. Ren had especially big dreams and wanted to live as a human. One day, they learned that a building was going to be built where they lived. At first, Ren was happy, thinking it meant they could live closer to humans, but her friend explained that the construction meant all the trees would be cut down. This made them very sad. When the trees began to be cut down, the young saplings decided to sacrifice themselves so that Ren could survive and pursue his dream. Ren was heartbroken to discover that his friend had also chosen to sacrifice herself to protect him. Because of this, Ren was able to transform into a human. Now back in the present, Ren suddenly attacks Feng in anger. Luckily, Feng manages to dodge the blow, and in response, Ren tightens the vines around him. As she begins to put her plan into action, Suji senses Feng is in danger. She tells the teacher she needs to go to the bathroom, using this as an excuse to rush out and help him. Ren doesn't realize that Ziba and other members of the Taoist clan are secretly watching from afar. They remain hidden and monitor the situation closely. Feng feels like he's about to die, but suddenly, an intense energy explodes from within his body, forcing Ren to retreat. Feng is shocked by the strange and powerful sensation growing within him. Ren tries to attack him again, but the new power in his body protects him. She repeatedly attacks, but Feng finally manages to fight back. To prevent him from fighting, Ren uses his powers to bind him. As he approaches, Feng manages to destroy the vines with another energy blast. The two charge at each other simultaneously, but suddenly, Feng's power disappears, weakening him. At that moment, Suji arrives just in time to save him. She reveals her true form, and when Ziba sees her, he begins to understand what might happen next. Suji accidentally hits Feng with her power during the fight. She immediately launches several attacks at Ren. While trying to evade Suji's attacks, Ren also also releases his own powerful energy. This force causes a giant tree to grow, enveloping the building where construction was about to begin. As Suji is about to enter the building, Feng tries to stop her out of concern for her safety. Even so, Suji enters, determined to face Ren. While searching for her, Ren suddenly appears and begins attacking. Suji is struck multiple times and has no choice but to use her own powers to defend herself. The two continue fighting, exchanging strong attacks with each other. Ren says something and then delivers a blow so powerful that it completely destroys the building. Ziba and his group witness everything from afar. Seeing how the battle is going, Ziba decides to leave, already knowing who will win. They also notice something important about Feng, who was their main target. Feng begins searching for Suji among the rubble. When he sees a hand, he thinks it's hers, but it's actually Ren, who gets up and tries to attack him again. However, the vines she throws burn before they can touch him. Suji also appears soon after, and the fight continues. Ren goes all out against Suji, but even after an intense exchange of blows, Suji defeats her, even when Ren uses his most powerful attack. Suji then orders Ren to return all the life energy she took from the others and return to her true form. But Ren has other plans. Before Suji can stop her, Ren disappears. After disappearing, Ren returns to her original tree form. Many small forest spirits, or saplings, gather around her and lead her to a mysterious door. When she opens it, she sees a forest full of trees. Then, the door and the saplings disappear. Feeling overwhelmed, she begins to cry. Suddenly, her long-lost friend appears and gently hugs her from behind. One day, Feng visits the parcel center to see if there are any deliveries for him. He is also asked to pick up a package for a friend. To his surprise, the friend's package is a large doll, since the package has already been opened for inspection. Many students stare at him as he carries everything back to his dorm, unaware that someone is secretly waiting for him. Feng bumps into a girl who had deliberately planned this meeting. Her name is Guo Shuang. When she reaches out to help him, she ends up saying his name in a provocative way. This reminds Feng of how Ren used to act, so he gets scared and runs off, leaving the packages behind. Guo Shuang then remembers the mission he received from Master Ziba. She's been instructed to discreetly observe Feng and protect him, believing he might also be able to see monsters. Just as Guo Shuang is about to retrieve the box Feng left behind, Suji arrives and questions her intentions. Suji immediately recognizes someone who resembles Guo Shuang, and Guo Shuang realizes that Suji is the fox spirit. She didn't know that Suji was also a student at the same school. Suji warns her not to do anything suspicious with Feng. Later, when Feng arrives at his room, he is surprised to see Guo Shuang there. She followed the address on the package and discovered where he lived. She returns the package and suddenly asks if he could be her boyfriend. Just then, a friend of Feng's notices that the box is already open and accuses Feng of tampering with the contents. This sparks an argument between them, and Guo Shuang leaves the room silently. A few hours later, Feng meets Suji at a restaurant for lunch. He apologizes for losing the magnifying glass. Suji says it was an ordinary object. She then explains that Feng is very special. He has a rare gift that allows him to see monsters in their true forms. The wound he received from Ren had briefly broken the seal on his chest, which caused his hidden power to manifest. Ziba now suspects that Feng may be the one with the mythical eyes. Therefore, Suji tells him they must guard him carefully from now on. She warns him that his ability can attract monsters, so he must always be vigilant. Feng begins to tell him about the girl he met earlier, but doesn't realize that Guo Shuang is already behind him. Feng quickly asks why Guo Shuang is at the restaurant. Suji, too, becomes curious and questions what their relationship is. Angered, Suji uses her power and turns the water in the cup into steam. Guo Shuang responds calmly, using her own ability to turn the steam back into water, but Suji dissipates it again. Even so, since she doesn't see Guo Shuang as a real threat to Feng, Suji decides not to get involved any further and leaves with him. As they return to the dormitory, Guo Shuang follows them silently. The next morning, when Feng wakes up, he finds her already waiting for him, determined to carry out her mission successfully. Guo Shuang stays by Feng's side the entire day. Wherever he goes, she follows him. She even brings him food often. While Feng plays with his friends, he doesn't even notice that she's also participating in the game. She proves to be very skilled and wins easily. Later, one of Feng's friends asks about his math homework. On the way, they run into Guo Shuang again. Still upset about losing the game, she hands them their completed homework. Feng is shocked to see that she even completed her math assignments. At first, his friends are angry with him, but upon learning that Guo Shuang helped them, they change their minds and quickly warm to her. Shortly after, Guo Shuang joins their class and is chosen as class representative. From that day on, she always hangs around Feng, which arouses the envy of many of her classmates. One day, a girl from a student group forces Feng to join her club because she has a crush on him. When she touches him, Guo Shuang appears and uses a magical talisman to scare everyone, making them run away. As he is about to leave, Feng finally asks her to stop following him. Even after he insists, she refuses to comply. That night, Guo Shuang begins to realize that her task is more difficult than she imagined. Her senior, Yan, who is returning from abroad, calls her and tells her not to take the mission too seriously, even though it was given by her master. Still, Guo Shuang doesn't change her mind. She continues following Feng, not only because of the mission, but also because she wants to find out for herself if he truly deserves the special treatment he's receiving. The next day, while Feng silently eats his instant noodles, Guo Shuang suddenly climbs in through the window and adds a sausage to his meal. After that, she begins plugging small holes in the room, thinking they might be dangerous for Feng. At that moment, she tells him her mission is to protect him. When Fen asks who gave her this mission, something strange happens. His body becomes rigid and he can't move. Guo Shuang had secretly added a special type of drug to the sausage, a substance so strong it could even put an elephant to sleep. With that, she decides to finally carry out something she's been planning for a while. Just then, Feng's friends enter the room. To hide the truth, Guo Shuang uses another trick and makes Feng's body obey her commands. He is then completely under her control, unable to resist anything she says. She takes him to an inn, but the innkeeper becomes enraged upon seeing Feng. The last time Feng was there, he caused damage and didn't pay for it. For this reason, the innkeeper refuses to give them a room. However, Guo Shuang throws money on the counter, and the man, overcome with fear, hands over the key without argument. Inside the room, just as Guo Shuang is about to go through with her plan, her feelings get the better of her. She begins to feel guilty and burst into tears. In the confusion, she punches Feng in the nose and escapes through the window. A man in another room sees her jumping. The innkeeper rushes to see what happened and becomes enraged again when he sees the broken window. Just then, another man appears, saying he wants to ask Feng a favor. He takes Feng to a fancy restaurant to discuss his needs. When he introduces himself as the innkeeper, Feng thinks he's going to ask for money, but instead, the manager says he'll wipe Feng's debt if he agrees to help. He also promises to pay him back, so Feng quickly accepts. The manager then asks Feng to put on a pair of special glasses. As soon as he puts them on, Feng realizes that the manager is also a monster. The manager seeks help from Suji, the fox spirit, who is in a nearby building watching everything. Meanwhile, Ziba visits Suji and talks to her about Feng. He asks if she isn't worried about the danger Feng may face, warning that more monsters will soon come after him. Suji responds by saying these monsters are weak and selfish, only interested in stealing energy from humans. Ziba then mentions something from her past that angers her. She attacks him, but Ziba dodges and leaves without a fight. Meanwhile, the manager continues talking to Feng. He explains that a crime recently occurred in one of the inn's rooms. He's worried it might happen again and fears the inn will be closed because of it. Therefore, he wants Suji's help in finding the monster responsible. Feng isn't sure if Suji will accept the request, but after receiving the advance payment, he agrees to try. While they're out, the manager suddenly becomes ill and decides to go home. Feng doesn't know that Guo Shuang is still secretly following him. The next day, Feng meets Suji and tells her about the manager's request. But she immediately refuses. No matter how much Feng insists, she won't change her mind. She says it has nothing to do with her and advises Feng to look for the Taoist clan or Guo Shuang. When Feng returns to the room, she notices food on the bed and realizes Guo Shuang is there. He asks her to leave and she appears from inside the closet. Feng asks her for help. Since Guo Shuang had already heard everything Feng and the manager discussed, she understands the situation and agrees to help. However, she senses a strange energy coming from the monster involved, so she tells Feng they need to be careful and make a good plan. That afternoon, Feng and Guo Shuang head straight to the inn to begin their investigation. At the same time, the monster inside the inn also notices their presence. When they arrive at the building, the manager meets them, and Feng introduces Guo Shuang. While Guo Shuang begins to investigate the place, Feng waits in one of the rooms. After a while, Guo Shuang finishes the inspection and shows Feng the plan she has prepared. She wastes no time and begins the steps to lure the monster they are looking for. Guo Shuang takes a magic bottle containing a powerful spiritual energy from her bag. From it emerges a female spirit created to lure the monster. Shortly afterward, Guo Shuang senses movement and knows the monster is approaching. Without warning, she throws Feng out the window to protect him and activates the device she had placed on his back, allowing him to land unharmed on the ground. As soon as the monster enters the room, it attacks Guo Shuang. Luckily, she blocks the blow in time. She then uses one of her special techniques, forcing the monster to retreat. Without hesitation, she delivers another powerful blow to send it flying. Unfortunately, Guo Shuang's attack is not enough to defeat the monster, and the fight continues. They exchange several powerful blows until the monster accidentally steps on a trap Guo Shuang had previously set. When it tries to get up, she quickly attacks and traps it. At that moment, the monster remembers fighting a woman in the past who looked very similar to Guo Shuang. He begins to believe she's the same person. Then, the monster abandons the innkeeper's body, and only then does Guo Shuang realize that the enemy's true form is that of a wolf demon. After receiving several attacks from the demon, Guo Shuang decides to destroy the entire room. As she tries to escape, the environment around her changes completely. She is nearly captured and devoured, but manages to dodge them in time. Continuing her escape, she finds herself surrounded by numerous doors, all controlled by the demon. To escape, she triggers a powerful explosion. This worries Feng, as the original plan was to destroy only one room, not the entire building. Feng tries to run inside, but the innkeeper stops him. Meanwhile, the demon captures Guo Shuang again. As the demon approaches, Guo Shuang activates a hidden explosive device he brought with him. This gives her a chance to escape, and she runs toward the building's main door. At the same time, Feng breaks free from the innkeeper and runs toward the entrance. He sees Guo Shuang running for the exit, but just as she is about to open the door, the demon catches up with her and pulls her back inside. The scene is exactly the same as the previous moment when she was dragged away. However, the demon doesn't know that. While searching for an exit, Guo Shuang had hidden explosives throughout the building. She activates them all at once. The explosion is massive. Even Feng, who is outside, is hit by the shockwave and passes out. After a while, Feng begins to see memories from a past life. In that life, his name was Junbang, and he had a very close friend named Guo, who looked exactly like Guo Shuang. Both were members of the Taoist clan, and they also had Suji, who helped train Junbang in various spiritual techniques. One day, the leaders of several powerful clans gathered for an important meeting. Junbang's and Guo's masters attended to discuss the terrible crimes committed by demons in a nearby village. The elder encouraged everyone to join forces to defeat the demons and restore peace to the region. All the leaders agreed to fight together. After the meeting, Junbang learned from his master that the demon hunt would soon begin. Excited, he ran to Guo and challenged her to see who could defeat the most enemies. At the same time, Suji advised the peaceful demons to stay away, lest they be caught up in the battle. The wolf demon noticed Suji's kindness to the harmless demons and struck up a conversation with her. Then, the great battle between humans and demons began. During the fight, Guo's master later told Junbang that she had won the challenge. Junbang explained that she only lost because she was injured while protecting Guo from a surprise attack by the demons. After the demons were defeated, the wolf demon spoke to its leader and begged for another chance. The leader agreed, but gave it one last mission. This time, the wolf demon had to kill the leader of the human alliance, Shale and Shiffingjin. If it failed again, it would never be able to return to its world. One day, while Junbang and Guo were spending time together, they suddenly heard someone scream. They rushed to the scene and found a man already seriously injured. Just as the man was about to warn them, the wolf demon appeared and attacked him from behind. Guo quickly pulled Junbang away from danger. They soon discovered that the wolf demon was searching for the elder. Guo decided she would try to stop the demon alone, while Junbang would return to warn her master. But Junbang disagreed with her idea, and the two began to argue. Before they could decide what to do, the wolf demon attacked again and fought them both. Despite their resistance, the demon was too strong and defeated them. Afterward, it grabbed Guo and used her as a hostage to force Junbang to take it to the elder. Junbang discreetly signaled to Guo to trust him, and led the demon to a cave, telling him the elder was inside. They continued deep into the cave until they reached a door. Just before opening it, Junbang closed his eyes and said nothing. Guo realized what he was planning, so she also closed her eyes and remained silent. When Junbang finally opened the door, an intense light spread out, blinding the wolf demon. Guo seized the opportunity and pushed the demon toward Junbang. Junbang quickly threw him out the cave door, where a steep cliff lay on the other side. The spot they were in was the same one Junbang and Guo discovered when they were children. This place also holds special memories for the two, as it was there that Junbang used to propose to Guo. But before they can dwell on the past, the wolf demon climbs back up the cliff. Just as he's about to attack, Guo steps in and knocks him down again. Feeling weak, Guo sits down to rest. However, a few seconds later, the ground beneath her begins to crack. At that moment, Suji realizes something has gone wrong. As Guo begins to fall, Junbang reaches out and grabs her hand. Guo, feeling guilty for Junbang and wanting to save him, chooses to let go of his hand so he doesn't fall with her. She wishes he could stay alive. Junbang, overcome with grief and unwilling to continue, tries to fall with her, but Suji arrives in time and saves him. He begs Suji to rescue Guo as well, believing she's still alive. Suji quickly sets off to find her. When she finds Guo, Suji realizes the severity of her injuries and understands how badly she's hurt. After helping her, Suji begins searching for the wolf demon. When she confirms that he was responsible for the attack on Junbang and Guo, she takes revenge on him. A few days later, Junbang learns that Guo has finally woken up and decides to go see her. But before he can reach her house, Suji stops him and talks to him. She explains the truth about Guo's condition. Even though he saved her life with a powerful magic pill, a part of Guo's soul is still missing. Because of this, her emotions and memories are affected. She may no longer remember Junbang and may no longer experience happiness or other normal feelings. Hearing this, Junbang feels responsible for what happened to Guo. Suji tells him that this kind of tragedy has always been part of his destiny. In every life, he is destined to face suffering. When Junbang finally arrives at Guo's home, he doesn't reveal his true identity. Instead, he pretends to be a stranger who only wants to meet the heroine who defeated the wolf demon. 3 months later, Junbang discovers that Guo is planning to leave the village. He follows her and discovers that she wants to travel to try to recover her lost memories. Years pass, and Junbang takes a new name, Sinfeng, and creates the Wuding sect. Guo later founds the Ame sect. From that moment on, they never see each other again. Shortly after this memory ends, Feng awakens from unconsciousness. He quickly asks the innkeeper how long he was unconscious. Remembering everything from his past life, he realizes he doesn't want the same fate to happen again. Without hesitation, he plunges a blade into his own chest to unleash his hidden power again. As soon as his energy is activated, Suji and Ziba feel it immediately. Feng rushes to the building to save Guo Shuang. Her protective barrier is weakening under the wolf demon's attacks. Once inside, Feng uses an ancient technique to quickly locate her. He follows her energy and reaches her just as the barrier shatters. Before the demon's power reaches her, Feng pulls her to safety. The wolf demon tries to attack again, but the blow has no effect on Feng. Feng retaliates, pushing the demon away and creating a chance to escape. Desperate to survive, the demon tries again to take over the innkeeper's body. But this time, the innkeeper is furious at the destruction of his place and resists. He refuses to allow the demon to fully control him. The wolf demon fights back and eventually forces the innkeeper's spirit out to take complete control. Soon after, Suji arrives and attacks the wolf demon without wasting time. Meanwhile, Feng carries the injured Guo Shuang and tries to take her to the hospital. On the way, they encounter Suji, but as they approach, Guo Shuang faints again. Feng becomes deeply concerned about the severity of her injuries. He begs Suji to save her, just as he had done once before. Suji remembers that moment and how she had hurt him back then. Suddenly, Ziba and Yan appear. Suji tells them to take Guo Shuang to get help. After they leave, Feng faints again from exhaustion and stress. When Feng wakes up, he finds himself lying on the side of the road with Suji by his side. After a while, the heavy rain stops and the sun begins to rise. They decide to return to the dormitory together. As they walk, Feng says he remembers everything that happened before. Suji then asks which past life he remembers, and it is at this moment that Feng discovers the truth that he has lived many different lives. Elsewhere, Ziba gives Yan a new task to help Guo Shuang in her mission. But as Feng used his hidden power again, another mysterious group discovered his existence and began searching for him. Feng develops a high fever after being exposed to the rain the night before. Shortly afterward, Suji visits him and brings a special medicine called Dragon's Tear to help reduce the fever. Feng wants to ask many questions, but feels too weak to say much. Suji isn't alone. She's accompanied by a woman named Yuan, who gave her the Dragon's Tear. Suji speaks quietly to Yuan, telling her she's worried because it's getting harder to hide Feng's true identity. Meanwhile, Yan instructs a student to announce Feng's bravery to the entire school. The announcement says Feng helped stop a fire at an inn and saved a girl, earning him a reward. When Feng hears this news, he wakes up suddenly. At that moment, he realizes his fever has completely disappeared. Meanwhile, Yan talks to an old man who delivers packages. This man is actually the school principal, who knows Ziba. They also discuss Feng. Later, Feng walks with his friends to a restaurant to pay for a meal as a thank you, using the reward he received. On the way, they encounter Guo Shuang. She begs Feng to accompany her because she wants him to meet her senior. They walk together to the student council room. Once inside, they come face to face with Yan. It's only then that Feng discovers that Yan is actually the student council president. One day, while Feng and Suji are together, they encounter Guo Shuang on the way. She says that Yan wants to speak with Feng. Feng remembers Yan as the man Guo Shuang introduced him to earlier, so he asks what Yan wants. Guo Shuang replies that it's related to Feng's training. They go to the student council room, where Yan tells Feng that she believes he might be the one with the eye of Yan. Feng becomes curious and asks what this means, using some water spilled on the floor. Yan shows Feng what's happening to him. Yan explains that when Feng used his power twice, it was enough to reveal his identity. Now, many yakai may begin to pursue him. Yan explains that the Taoist sect has two goals. The first is to protect Feng, a task that falls to Guo Shuang. The second is to train Feng in the use of magic, and that is Yan's responsibility. Feng needs to learn to defend himself. Yan then sends Guo Shuang to a place called Ziba, so she can rest and fully recover. After she leaves the room, Yan presents Feng with a reward. It's a meal card from Mr. Fat's restaurant, worth the same amount as the first reward. Feng is sad because he'd already spent all his money treating his friends. It's then that he discovers that the Taoist sect was behind the fire incident and helped him become a hero. Yan takes Feng to another location belonging to the Taoist sect. The area is protected by a barrier, preventing any yakai from entering. Yan shows Feng a magical technique called magic refinement. Using only a small leaf, Yan cuts a piece of wood with it. He tells Feng that he needs to master magic refinement before using any magical weapon. Yan explains further, but Feng doesn't quite understand, as Feng tries to grasp the new technique. Suji silently enters the area. Feng is shocked to see her, as she's a yakai and shouldn't be able to enter. Suji says she's no ordinary yakai. She sees Feng practicing with the leaf and tries to do the same. She succeeds easily and tells Feng she can teach him how to use the technique. Feng immediately agrees. Suji holds Feng's hand and guides him. Feng feels a strange energy flowing from her palm into his body. The energy spreads within him, and he feels himself concentrating on one point. Afterward, Feng feels more confident and tries the technique again. This time, he succeeds, but the leaf shatters because he still can't control his strength well. Now, Feng understands he needs to learn how to use his power properly. Before Suji leaves, Feng tells her he wants to buy her a meal as a thank you for helping him. Meanwhile, Guo Shuang remains nearby and listens to everything Feng and Suji are talking about. Feng continues practicing magical refinement, but still can't control his strength. With each attempt, the leaf explodes. Frustrating him, he accidentally releases all the energy into the grass, causing an explosion around him. Yan watches from a distance and suddenly realizes Suji is in his room. Suji disagrees with Yan's teaching method to Feng. She believes it's still too early to teach him magical refinement, since they haven't even completed the tests to determine if Feng truly possesses the Eye of Yang. Yan explains that this type of magic can only be learned by someone who possesses the Eye of Yang, and that if Feng is indeed the chosen one, this is the right place to start. But Suji becomes irritated and replies that she doesn't care about the Eye of Yang, as she only wants Feng to be happy. Later that day, Feng still can't master the technique. On the way home, he calls Suji and invites her to dinner. While heading to the restaurant, he notices a strange green wave above Mr. Fat's place. When they meet, Feng tells her about what he saw. Suji explains that it's a type of magic called a decomposition field. This magic causes food to rot from the inside, even if it appears fresh on the outside. When activated, it can slowly spoil everything. Feng worries that their food will spoil, but Suji says the effect takes a few days to manifest. While waiting for their food, they recognize the waiter. He was the former janitor. The man blames Feng for losing his job. Feng also sees a deer next to the waiter and realizes that it is the restaurant manager in his true form. The next morning, Guo Shuang brings Feng breakfast. The roommates leave to give the two some privacy. She discovers that Feng is meeting Yan later, so she decides to accompany him after class. Around lunchtime, Feng's friends prefer to eat elsewhere, as they dislike the food at Mr. Fat's restaurant. But Feng only has a valid meal card for that restaurant, so he eats there again. This time, he feels how bad the food truly is. After the meal, Feng and the others meet Yan. Feng sees many green decaying fields around. Guo Shuang notices that Feng can see them without needing special glasses. Yan says this is due to Feng's training. To solve the problem, they will need to use a special magical field called a purification field. They also plan to place arcane marks in the four corners of the school. They want to start work on the second day and, to test Feng's skills, decide to include him in the mission. Since they still need one more person, Feng suggests Suji, and Yan agrees. When Feng returns to the dorm, he finds his classmates with stomach pains from the food. He runs to the school nurse's office to get medicine. There, he meets the doctor, Yun. She recognizes him immediately. The doctor gives him the medicine he needs and, before he leaves, also gives him a dragon tear to prevent stomach pains. The next day, after practicing the magic refinement many times, Feng finally manages to perform the technique correctly without causing the leaf to explode. Later, he meets with the other three members to carefully plan how they will create the purification field. When the day of the mission arrives, they quickly find the 4 energy points needed to install the field. However, the yakai that created the decomposition field senses someone trying to remove it. As the group begins to activate the purification field, Feng accidentally causes the talisman next to him to explode. Because of this, Guo Shuang instructs Feng to use a special Taoist app created by the sect. The app contains several talismans, including one called the Thunder God Talisman. Feng is surprised to learn he has to pay for it, but since they need to complete the mission, he uses his savings to buy it. Just as he's about to make the payment, Suji and the others sense a powerful presence approaching. They realize a yakai is heading directly toward Feng. Suji immediately leaves his position and runs toward Feng. The yakai arrives and reveals itself to be the same man who owns Mr. Fat's restaurant. Shortly after, its true form appears, a poisonous mushroom spirit. Feng discovers that this spirit was responsible for spreading the decay fields in several restaurants, which is why his friends got sick after eating out. While trying to fight, Feng doesn't realize he selected more talismans on the app than necessary. The yakai attacks, and although Feng blocks the blow, the force throws him away. The enemy then grabs him and tries to force him to eat the poisonous mushroom, but in time, another man appears and stops the spirit from harming him. The two men fight, and the stranger quickly defeats the mushroom spirit using a powerful item called the Thundercloud Pearl. After the victory, he approaches Feng and helps him up. When Suji arrives, he quickly hides so she doesn't see him. They begin the purification process again. When Feng checks the app to see the talisman he purchased, he is shocked to discover that he has accidentally purchased 99 of them. He tries to cancel the order, but the app won't let him, so he decides to use them all at once. This causes a massive explosion that destroys Mr. Fat's restaurant, which was right next door. Luckily, the purification is successful. All the decay fields around the stalls and restaurants are eliminated. Suji and Guo Shuang rush to see if Feng is okay, but at that moment, the mushroom spirit returns to attack. Suji and Guo Shuang spring into action to protect Feng. Yan also arrives and tries to talk to the spirit. Thanks to this, they manage to end the fight peacefully and resolve the issue. On his way home, Feng accidentally drops his cell phone. The impact is so strong that it surprises him. Yan suspects Feng may have used magical refinement without realizing it, just like with the leaf. The phone turns to ash. Later, Yan visits Ziba and reports what he observed about Feng. Since Feng was able to use 99 talismans at once, Yan believes there's a 90% chance he actually possesses the Eye of Yang. Ziba advises him to continue observing Feng closely, especially now that there are signs that the Eye of Yang has been activated. One day, while having lunch together, Yan and Guo Shuang laugh when they see the new cell phone Feng bought to replace the one he lost. Feng thanks Yan, believing the Taoist sect paid for the damage caused during the restaurant explosion. But then he is surprised to learn that the sect will only cover half the cost, and that he will have to pay the rest. When he sees the amount he will have to pay, Feng feels completely discouraged. The sect had expected this reaction, and, therefore, prepares a new contract. This agreement is valid for the next 4 years. While Feng continues his studies at university, Yan explains that Feng only needs to work as a part-time disciple and participate in the missions assigned to him. For each mission, he will receive a reward. Guo Shuang also explains that the contract includes a fixed salary. According to the contract, 60% of his earnings will go to pay for the damages, 30% will cover training costs, and only 10% will be given directly to him. Soon after, they see on the news that the school where they study is being demolished and will be transferred to Kifa District University. Feng actually likes the idea of moving to this new university, but Guo Shuang and Yan think it's a bad decision. It turns out that the person buying the land and handling the paperwork is a businessman who is actually a yakai, which explains Yan and Guo Shuang's strong reaction to the news. One day, while Feng is walking down the road with a friend, he sees Suji and Yuan passing by. This is the first time Yuan formally introduces himself to Feng. Suji informs him that she will be away for 2 days and asks him to behave while she is away. Before leaving, Feng tells her about the Taoist sect's offer and asks if everything is okay. He remembers his past life and knows that Suji was the one who trained him, but she says she sees no problem with it. In fact, she wants Feng to live the life she believes in. Later, when Feng returns to the dorm, his friend shows him an app called My Girlfriend. The app features an artificially intelligent girl who speaks very naturally, sounding like a real person. Feng considers downloading the app too, but his current phone is no longer a smartphone, so he can't. Meanwhile, the man who previously helped Feng, named Lei Shen, is also using the same app. His disciple, an elderly man, tries to stop him, knowing the app is draining his energy. Lei Shen is already aware of this, but isn't concerned, believing his life force is strong enough. The woman inside the app is also a type of yakai, because with so many people using the program, she feels completely energized. After several hours of traveling, Suji and Yuan finally reach their destination, a cave. Yuan gives Suji a jade crystal she can use to send a signal if something goes wrong inside. Yuan plans to remain in a nearby village until Suji completes her mission inside the cave. The next morning, Feng wakes up surprised to find Guo Shuang already in his room with breakfast prepared for him. In fact, she's taking this opportunity to stay by his side and protect him. Feng's other friends are still at home, and Suji is absent. One of Feng's friends, also in the room, pretends to be asleep because he feels uncomfortable with the situation between them. Eventually, he has to get up because he needs to go to the bathroom. After breakfast, Yan and Guo Shuang take Feng to the Taoist sect headquarters for a medical examination. Feng expects the location to be in the mountains, but is surprised when they arrive at a large building called the Dawn Pharmaceuticals. The first step of the examination is a blood draw, followed by a CT scan, to which Guo Shuang accompanies him. The sect plans to analyze Feng's blood to gather important data. The results show that Feng's spiritual energy level is extremely high, which delights Ziba. Soon after, a woman arrives to share the results of the comprehensive imaging scan. The data reveal that Feng's energy center is sealed, and the energy stored within it exceeds the machine's ability to measure. Because of this, the woman confirms that Feng is indeed the bearer of the Eye of Yang. Soon after, the school principal contacts Ziba to inform him of a notice regarding the school's demolition. As they leave the building, Yan tells Feng that there's one more thing to do, something that's part of the tradition for new members of the sect. Yan introduces Feng to the rest of the group, and then he and Guo Shuang quickly leave, saying they have another investigation to complete. As soon as the two leave, the other sect members begin an initiation ritual that involves beating Feng as part of the process. Meanwhile, Ziba and the school principal meet before discussing the reason for Ziba's visit. The two discuss Feng's test results and agree that he does indeed possess the Eye of Yang. They then discuss the school's demolition. The principal asks Ziba for a favor. If his plan doesn't work, he'd like to bid for the Dawn Pharmaceuticals company. Ziba accepts without any objection. The principal also mentions that he'd like to introduce a girl from his family to Ziba, hoping he'll be interested. But Ziba makes an excuse and says he has another commitment. Later, after Feng washes his face, his friend friend also appears with a swollen face from a beating. It turns out he was punished for selling illegal records. That night, as Feng prepares for bed, he checks his phone and feels a little worried, as Suji hasn't sent him any messages yet. He doesn't know she's almost finished with her cave mission. Meanwhile, Yuan watches a sad drama to help herself cry. Her tears turn into dragon tears, which she sells according to size. After the show, she sees a news report about the demolition of their school. The next day, Yan watches Feng continue his training. Feng quickly learns to fight and begins using magical refinement with different weapons. Around noon, Yan pauses training and delivers a meal previously prepared by Guo Shuang to Feng, since she's away on a mission. Yan is responsible for delivering the food. After allowing a 20-minute break, Yan announces that the training will continue and that he will teach her more personally. Elsewhere, Lei Shen's assistants are concerned because he keeps chatting non-stop with the yokai woman who lives inside the My Girlfriend app. Suddenly, Lei Shen reveals how he feels. As someone with a young eye, he becomes irritated by the realization of how strange he's always acted around women. Since he was young, he's had difficulty talking to girls, but the woman on the app listens to him and treats him kindly. His disciples can no longer stop him and become frustrated. They want to confront the yokai woman directly, but she doesn't have a real physical body. The elder among them has the idea of trying to enter her dimension. After the break, Feng's training continues. When he finds an opportunity to attack, he uses magical refinement on his weapon, but Yan easily dodges it. Yan explains to Feng that using only strong attacks is risky, as it weakens his defenses. Still, he praises Feng's effort and progress. At the same time, the yokai woman begins to suspect Yan's behavior. He never uses voice calls and only communicates through text messages. She doesn't pay much attention to this because many other men are trying to talk to her. As she changes into her uniform, she reflects on what might be missing in her life and questions who she really is. Suddenly, she sees Lei Shen's disciples trying to enter her dimension. Once they arrive, she asks how they got in and if there's a way out. The men accuse her of using her charms to control their master. One of them attacks her, but the blow has no effect because her body is still adjusting. She doesn't understand why they think she's doing something wrong. The men explain that she's draining Lei Shen's energy, but she continues to deny it. One of them gets angry and slaps her. While Feng and her friends eat, they discuss Guo Shuang's current mission. They discover that she's investigating the My Girlfriend app because users are experiencing strange symptoms. Based on the information gathered, there are two possible causes for the problem: a sudden drop in blood sugar or a loss of vital energy. However, the latter seems more likely. Guo Shuang then asks Feng to test the app and see what it's like to talk to the woman. As soon as she greets him, the app goes into maintenance mode. This surprises Guo Shuang, who begins to wonder what's going on, unaware that, at that very moment, someone is attacking the yokai woman inside her dimension. Even after the elder's attacks, nothing affects the yokai woman. He tries again, but still fails to inflict damage. Suddenly, she creates a stage as if she's about to perform. The elder's companion is enchanted by her beauty, which begins to worry the elder. The woman then announces to all the app users that she will be performing an online show the next day. Later, Feng returns to the dormitory, planning to alert his friend about the app, but realizes that he is already weak and drained of energy. Even so, his friend is excited about the upcoming show, and Feng is unable to stop him from using the app. The next morning, Guo Shuang brings breakfast to Feng's room. They realize that his friend hasn't slept all night because he was waiting for the show. Feng wants to talk to him, but Guo Shuang stops him. She warns that if the yokai woman sees him, the situation could worsen. She realizes that a large amount of life energy has already been drained from Feng's friend. It's the first time she's seen such severe damage. She then tells Feng to meet Yan at the student council office while she investigates further. When Feng explains everything to Yan, he deduces that the woman in the app has started absorbing more energy than before to increase her power more quickly. Yan wants to talk to her peacefully, if possible, but entrusts the mission to Feng. He also gives Feng a special smartphone to use for this task. Yan warns that if the situation becomes dangerous or the yokai woman attacks, Feng should throw the phone as far away as possible. When Feng initiates a conversation with the woman on the app, he gets straight to the point and says he knows what she's doing. This angers her. She accuses him of working with the elder, which surprises Feng. Suddenly, she begins absorbing his energy. Yan quickly takes Feng's phone, throws it, and destroys it. Soon after, Guo Shuang arrives and informs Yan that the number of people affected by the app has increased significantly since the previous night. Then the elder appears with a companion and and shares their story. They had entered the Yakai woman's dimension, but only the two of them managed to escape. They still don't know what happened to the other two members of the group who also entered. After hearing the full story, Yan realizes that these men are the reason for the Yakai woman's anger. Now, it's no longer possible to resolve everything with words. They need to prepare a damage report for the leader or send it directly to the sect headquarters. It's at this point that Feng finally learns the truth about the Eye of Yang. The old man and his companion were shocked to discover that Feng was the Eye's bearer. Since Feng still didn't fully understand what this meant, Guo Shuang explained it to him more calmly. Yan then asked the old man how they had managed to enter the Yakai woman's dimension, but realizing the risk involved, they all agreed that they shouldn't repeat that method. Instead, they decided to look for a safer way to enter. Yan began to devise a new plan and asked Guo Shuang for the exact time of the online concert. Meanwhile, after completing her mission in the cave, Suji sent a signal to Yuan, asking her to come and get her. Before they left, Suji showed Yuan the results of her work, and then the two went to Suji's house to get some rest. Once they arrived, Yuan handed Suji the energy core of a small spirit who had died in an accident, asking her to absorb that core to recover some of the lost energy. Later, while watching the news, they saw a story about several men hospitalized due to extreme weakness. This worried Suji, who decided to immediately return to school to investigate. Meanwhile, Feng received a call from his parents, who asked how he was doing, as he hadn't heard from them in a while. Feng learned that they planned to visit him, which made him nervous, as they discovered that the cell phone they had given him was broken. Entering his room, Feng saw his friends preparing for the online show, but he quickly left because he had to meet Yan and Guo Shuang to begin the mission. In the student council office, there was a large screen in the room. Yan asked Guo Shuang to stay outside to provide support, while the others entered the dimension. Before entering, Guo Shuang gave each of them a talisman, which would protect them from pain for 2 hours. When the old man used his powers, none of them felt anything. They managed to enter the dimension and could still communicate with Guo Shuang. When the Yakai woman appeared before the spectators, Guo Shuang quickly located her location. However, just as the show was about to begin, the connection with the outside world was severed. The woman was surprised to find herself surrounded by talismans. Yan and the others appeared, explaining that they had severed her connection with the outside world using a special technique. Soon after, the two members of the old man's group who had been trapped in the dimension appeared, but now they were completely enchanted by the Yakai woman. Despite his anger, the old man still worried about their safety. He reprimanded them, but sent them back to the real world before their bodies were damaged. Suddenly, the Yakai woman destroyed the talismans around her and released a powerful energy. At the same time, Suji learned from Ziba about the mission Feng was participating in. She became anxious to learn that Feng might not return for 6 hours, which could be dangerous. She immediately called Guo Shuang to ask where he was. Guo Shuang tried to reassure her, saying that Feng was fine and knew what he was doing, assuring her that nothing bad would happen to him. This helped Suji calm down a bit. While Feng and Yan remained inside the other dimension, they were attacked by 4 of the Yakai woman's disciples. The two struggled to defend themselves. At the same time, the Yakai woman began trying to re-establish connection with the viewers. Guo Shuang immediately alerted Yan to the server change in progress. Yan urged her to stop, but she couldn't do it in time. As soon as the connection with the audience was restored, the enemies fighting Feng and Yan disappeared. The Yakai woman received a massive amount of energy from the support she received. One of Lei Shen's disciples found the unconscious master and immediately reported it to the old man, who had just awakened the 2 missing members of the group. They also discovered that many other men had recently fainted, and even Guo Shuang was shocked by the severity of the situation. The old man went to Guo Shuang and told her about Lei Shen's current condition. She asked if he could still open a path to bring Feng and Yan back. The old man replied that he would, but that the portal would only be strong enough to bring one person back. Inside the dimension, Yan activated his magical weapon, the Shen Yuan sword, and attacked the Yakai woman, who easily defended herself. As she prepared to retaliate, Yan launched another attack. They began to fight intensely, while Feng merely watched. During the confrontation, Guo Shuang called Yan to update him on Lei Shen, and the old man repeated that only one of them could be brought back. After reflection, Yan decided to save Feng and told him so. He then sent Guo Shuang a farewell, ready to face the danger alone. Guo Shuang warned Ziba about Yan's plan. Ziba then sent a message to Yan urging him not to rush and promising to find another solution. Later, Feng spoke with Guo Shuang, who gave him the location where the old man was preparing the portal. Meanwhile, Yan and the phone spirit continued to fight intensely. Yan tried to calm her down, asking her to stop absorbing energy from her fans, warning that it could kill them. The woman didn't believe him, thinking her fans genuinely cared about her. Yan then unleashed a powerful attack that knocked her down. When she tried to fight back, he used Xinwu's divine power to stop her. Yan and Feng fled, knowing she would recover quickly due to the energy she absorbed. And Yan was right, because within minutes she regained her footing, causing Feng's friends to lose consciousness. As they approached the location Guo Shuang had indicated, Yan's magic sword returned to him. The old man began opening the portal, and as soon as it appeared, Feng rushed toward it. When the old man grabbed him, Feng finally understood that Yan had planned to stay behind and fight the Yakai woman alone. Unwilling to accept Yan's sacrifice, Feng broke free from the old man's grasp and returned to help. The old man lost consciousness from overusing his energy. Guo Shuang immediately called Ziba and told him everything that had happened. Ziba began searching for someone with the old man's powers. While Guo Shuang was trying to help the old man recover, Suji rushed in. Seeing Feng's injured and exhausted state, she became furious with Guo Shuang and blamed the entire Taoist sect for allowing this to happen. Yuan appeared and said there was a way to help Feng and Yan stay longer in the other dimension, using dragon tears. So they gave the tears to the two of them to swallow, with Yan now using all her strength. The Yakai woman began to struggle in the fight. As Feng approached the battle site, he felt his own powers activate. Just as Yan was about to strike the Yakai woman with a final blow, Feng jumped in and blocked the attack. Yan was surprised and immediately reprimanded Feng for interfering. Feng begged to try talking to the woman first. Yan agreed and handed him the headset. Feng walked up to the woman and began explaining where her energy really came from and how it harmed the people who supported her. The woman remained in disbelief. Feng then asked Guo Shuang for help, who revealed the true condition of the affected victims. Afterward, Feng handed the headset to the Yakai woman, and for the first time, she saw the people who had fainted because of her. Realizing how much energy she had drained from her followers, the woman was deeply shaken. At that moment, she finally stopped draining energy from the app's users. However, a new problem now arose. They needed to find a way to return to the real world. Luckily, the Yakai woman still had enough power to return the stolen energy, so they decided to return Lei Shen's energy first, since he was the only one capable of opening the portal to get them out. After helping him, she also restored the energy of the other victims. With that done, she changed her clothes and prepared to perform one last show. Feng tried to stop her, as she was already too weak, but Yan told her to let her perform. Yan knew she didn't have much time left, and that this was her last moment to do what she loved before disappearing completely. Ziba took Lei Shen to where Feng and Yan were. During the journey, Lei Shen watched the Yakai girl's final performance. After singing for a few minutes, she left a final message for her fans. When Lei Shen arrived at the student council office, he quickly passed the necessary energy to the old man. At the same time, the Yakai girl began to disappear, and the dimension around them began to unravel. Chatty said, the Yakai girl realized she was about to be crushed by the collapse of space around her, but Feng managed to save her at the last moment. Yan used his magic weapon to create a protective shield. Lei Shen began to open the portal, and, as he stepped through, was shocked to see the entire dimension crumbling. Yan grabbed Feng, trying to pull him out, but Feng refused to leave the Yakai girl behind. When Yan and Lei Shen were face to face, Lei Shen finally saw the weakened girl and became enraged. Yan tried to explain what had happened, but at that moment, a bolt of lightning struck them both. The impact threw Lei Shen back to the real world. Yan also managed to escape, but Feng remained in the dimension. Feng stayed by the Yakai girl's side and encouraged her not to give up. He urged her to resist and wait for rescue. When she tried to hold Feng's hand, her body began to disappear. As soon as Yan woke up, he rushed back to try to save Feng. He returned to the dimension, but the girl was already gone. Yan found Feng, grabbed his hand, and pulled him back to the real world. When Feng returned to his body, Suji ran to him and hugged him tightly, relieved to see him safe. Soon after, Lei Shen also returned and confirmed that the Yakai girl had completely disappeared. Feng then noticed something glowing in his hand. It was the Yakai girl's soul or source code. Suji had an idea and asked if Feng still didn't have a phone. She showed him the one Yun had given her and began explaining her plan. Suji proposed a way to bring the yakai girl back in physical form. She said it would only require a small amount of energy, and Lei Shen readily offered to help. Suji poured the contents of the special vial into the glowing source code. Feng then placed this code inside his phone, and Lei Shen provided some of his energy. Suddenly, the phone exploded, and right before them, the yakai girl's human form appeared. Since she was naked, Guo Shuang quickly covered her. Suji was confused and asked why. Instead of a phone, a girl had appeared. Guo Shuang explained that it was because the girl came from the My Girlfriend app. Upon hearing this, Suji felt regret and wanted to take back the energy core. But the yakai girl understood that it was Suji who had given her that energy, and so she began calling her mother. Yan also told her that Feng had saved her soul and used his cell phone to give her a new body. The girl then remembered Feng in the other world and hugged him happily, calling him father. Feng corrected the girl, and she agreed to call him master. Lei Shen watched the scene and began to feel jealous. The girl noticed his presence and remembered that he was the first person to download her app. When she tried to touch him, Lei Shen pulled away. She felt sad, thinking he was angry that she had absorbed his energy, and began to cry. She hugged Feng again, who couldn't contain his smile. Lei Shen's jealousy grew so intense that he stormed off. Before leaving, Yuan asked Yan how much the Taoist sect would pay for the dragon tears used. Yan then informed Guo Shuang about the damage caused to the school, which would be covered by Lei Shen and the sect. After that, he also left. Now, Feng was alone with 3 women. As he was preparing to leave, the yakai girl said she wanted to accompany him. Guo Shuang suggested she transform into a smartphone to be more useful. The girl immediately agreed and asked which phone model Feng liked. Before changing form, she asked Feng to give her a name. Feng thought for a few seconds and named her Lingyi. Then, she transformed into a smartphone. Back at the dorm, Feng found his friends crying over the loss of their favorite virtual idol. While he was texting Guo Shuang, Lingyi suddenly appeared. The friends heard her voice, but thought it was just their imagination. And so ended that day for all of them. And here ends the first part of this story. Like if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more videos.